Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is April the 29th, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar, 1441 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2021 on the ancient Greco-Roman calendar. All rise and stand. This is a sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine, living, Article 3, ancient, Moroccan, Moorish American consular court action. I am sovereign, living justice, Pauline Denise Ritchie, in capitis, dimiutio, nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. No United States Corporation Company citizen, nor their agents, principals, heirs, assigns, nor any derivatives thereof, has personam jurisdiction, nor territorial jurisdiction, nor subject matter jurisdiction over me, nor over any more. Okay. Empress Shade, are you here? I may need to unlock the meeting so to make sure she can get in. Okay. Hopefully Empress Shade will be able to get in the interim. So a couple of questions really quickly. The first question, this is a quick little Q&A because we want to bring forth some information and just kind of reiterate it and put it out there. The first question is, why do we do sovereign Article 3 consular court actions? Why do we do that? That's the first question, and we have the answer there also. The answer, one of the answers, because there's a whole host of reasons why we do them, aside from the fact that we're the only true Article 3 living court on the land. Let me see. I see a question in the chat. I will get to what's in the chat shortly, but I do want to go ahead and we'll discuss that shortly. So why do we do Article 3 consular court actions? We do them because it makes it so that it is lawful for us to go into the treasury and draw from it. I'm not sure if you all are aware, but you cannot use the sovereign treasury or any treasury unless a court action has been done. And I'm going to mute. There's a couple of lines that are coming up on the sound meter, so I'm going to go ahead and mute them just so that everyone can hear. So we've always said that bankers are justices, and that is true. Justices are bankers. So if you are a banker or you are studying banking, because all Moors are bankers, by the way, just like all Moors are justices, then you must know that doing court actions is the only way to make a law and then pull from the treasury, draw from the treasury. Let's prove that. Article 1 of the Constitution, Section 9, subsection 7 says, that's clause 7, says no money shall be drawn from the treasury but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. So in order to even, this is why it was so important for us to get our court started also. On top of just the fact that we needed relief from fake court. This clause 7, let's just look at a couple of the words in that clause. But in consequence, consequence means when you spell it with a C and you are corporate, it means against the sequence or out of number, out of order. That's what consequence means when you're corporate. But when you put it in red in all lowercase letters and you spell it the way we spell it, then it means proper order. Okay?
Alibaba El Camino is in the
appropriations. Appropriations. Let's look at appropriation. The word appropriations, it has a Latin root word. Propria is the root word. Appropriations means that which is proper by law. That which is proper by law in this case, when it's used in this sentence, in this context. So no money shall be drawn from the treasury, but in the proper order, which is properly done by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. So you see, the court action, this is the beauty of even the Moroccan American exchange. With the packets that have been received, actually all three of what's in there are court actions. They've been done as court actions. But everything that we have done with regard to the Moroccan American exchange is a court action. And when you send the things that are in the packet back, it's 2 items in there. It's the inheritance investment document, and it's also, which is a court action, and it says it on there, court action, and the United States Treasury check. That makes it so that everyone sending the packet back has access to the Treasury. And that was by design. We want to make sure that, you know, everyone has access to the Treasury. Everyone. All Moors. And in order to do commerce, you need to have access to the Treasury. So the packet that we sent out that you request at, and I see some in the chat putting email addresses in there. I'm going to put the email address where you can send your request for the inheritance and investment packet. It is the government, and government has an E on the end, at gmail.com. The government at gmail.com, and that's THEGOVERNMENTE at gmail.com. So those who put their email addresses in the chat to receive the packet, if you send your request, if you email your request to that email, we will get you a packet within somewhere around 24, 48, at the latest 72 hours. We put 72 hours out there, but so far we've been on par, getting them to the Moors within 24 to 48 hours. So that will, I mean, we're covering as many bases as possible with as many Moors as possible as we move forward. So the Moors also needed to, you know, we all needed to get used to writing United States Treasury checks. We just need to get used to writing them. So I thought this was a great way to get everyone accustomed to seeing the treasury checks and seeing what they look like and using them, etc. And also letting the first check that you write be a seed that you plant into the vast estate. So we're getting the commerce piece kicked off all the way around. Okay. I see some questions in the chat. Empress Kenya, you said that you didn't get your package yet. It must have been in the last 24 to 48 hours that you put your request in, because they're going out pretty quickly. Today's Thursday, and the majority of the emails came in on between Monday and Tuesday, so they should have gotten theirs by now. And those who put, yes, okay, if you sent it on Tuesday, today, this would be 48 hours, so you should have it by the end of the day today. Okay, and then all of those who, when you get your packet, thank you for letting us know, Empress Kenya, because we want to be sure that we provide that as soon as possible so we can get this commerce going. All of those who get them, please schedule a free conference call with us at the Moroccan American Exchange, and I'll be doing the majority of the free conference call meetings, just to make sure that that the heirs have whatever it is that they need with regard to those inheritance packets, and that we answer all of the questions that we can answer and provide, you know, whatever the heirs need. There are some emails with regard to appointments over the next day or two. You should get a response for those by tomorrow, because the majority of them, of the appointments, are for Saturday and I believe Monday. So we're just so excited about getting our economy going, because it's something that our prophet prophesied. So we want to bring forth as many prophecies as our prophet put out there and as our ancestors put out there for us. So let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Our prophet said that the economy was going to grind to a halt, and when it starts back up again, it'll be in the favor of the Moors. He knew we were going to have to do that we couldn't sit around and wait for corporates and corpses to do it. We can't wait for subjects to do it. We have to do it. So that's what we're doing, is getting it started. Let's get these companies up and running. I'm out of sea salt already, so I'm gonna have to go and get more, get more sea salt and get it running through, and so I'm excited about all that's happening. In one of the free conference calls, and I'll call it an assistance to the heirs meeting, I was speaking with one of the heiresses and found out about pearl powder. Pearl powder. I've never heard of pearl powder. I don't know if you have, but that's one of the companies on the list. And it's, as soon as I Googled it, it said anti-aging, and it talks about it being natural and all of this stuff. But those who are offering it are not the Moors, so I know it's not natural. And natural was in capital letters for them. So we got this, because many of the companies on the list, I did not know precisely what they did, but we're learning just from doing the just from providing assistance to the heirs in these interviews, who are choosing companies to step up and take full heirship and responsibility of. So I'm excited about that. And then I want to, let's answer another question that we have here. Again, this is why all justices, all Moors, are bankers, or you have no right to the treasury. If you're not doing court actions, because it has to be accessed by law. That is why, that's also why, those ones doing business as quote-unquote corporate Congress, every last one of them went to law, quote-unquote law school, supposedly went to law school. Supposedly went to law school. You know, they went to a fake, some corporate stuff that's not really a school. It's animal education. And that's why it didn't do anything for the heirs. So question number 2, why is it that whenever the word capital or any derivative thereof appears, debt appears? Except when we use it. And in fact, that should have been the end of that question. When we use it in capitis, dimiutio, nolo, then that means no debt, no loss of status, none of that. It says, because by definition, capital means money or cash, the capitalist makes money off of that which she capitalizes. And that's in that other economy, the fake one over there. The capital is a tax or duty. Anyone doing business as capital is a lien. And they say they're alien, but it's a lien. Okay? So, speaking of liens, I want to bring something out really quickly with regard to the liens. Now, I will say this. Again, those who are putting their emails in the chat for the packet, please send that request for the inheritance packet to the government with an E on the end at gmail.com. And I'm putting that again in the chat because I see emails popping up in the chat. The government at gmail.com. TheGovernmente. Okay. So now, just one moment. There's a question in the chat that I'd like to address before we go any further. Now, first of all, the question says, and this, I'm just speaking to the Moors. I'm speaking to the Moors. We're not talking to anyone but the Moors right now. It says in the chat, why is the Albion economy doing so well and increasing? What economy do the Albions own? None. So that kind of, that's the answer to the question. The economy belongs to the heirs. We are the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. Islam. And our economy is doing great. It's doing fantastic. Look at us. We're doing great. Even after all that we've been through, we are doing fantastic. We have all new companies, and they're not new, they're ancient. We're going to bring that, I want to show you some things with regard to these companies that we're stepping up and taking full responsibility for and taking full owner and heirship of. We're not under occupation. We're not under anything or anyone. And so, that might have been something that could have been said while we were asleep. And here's the thing about that. And there's a question, there's a comment in the chat. Thank you for that comment, Justice. We are under, it says we are under occupation. They don't have any economy. We're not under anything at all. We're sovereign and we overstand everything. We stand over all. Islam. So speaking of liens, I wanted to go over some things about the liens because the Moors are currently holding and the heirs to many liens, many of them. Okay, just one moment. Okay. We've done so many liens in the last, since 2018 is when we started the leaning process. And we've been leaning and leaning left and right. And for that, we are grateful, let me say that, because it has caused, you can see the effects of that in the economy today, where corpses and corporations are concerned. You can see the results of that here now. With regard to the liens, one of the empresses that we're going to
answer the question, Pauline. Why don't you have that building on?
With regard to, I was speaking with one of the empresses with regard to real estate and you know, Moorish realty, and she said something, and I knew it, but when she said it, it was almost like my mind opened back up again. She said that mortgages are corporate liens, and we knew that. But when we think about how many, you know, I knew that, but I was thinking about how many liens we have right now that the Moors have been recording. We are holding everything in our possession right now. Every Moor who has filed a lien or who has recorded a lien, we're holding the whole earth in our hands. You know that song, He's got the whole world in his hands. We got the whole earth in our hands with our liens. And perfecting them is going to be done pretty much the same way that the fraudulent mortgage dead pledge corpses have been doing things. That is how you perfect a lien. You foreclose, and then we're going to look at this lien structure from the Missouri Revised Statute because it gives some answers on perfecting the liens also. And this that we're about to read with the the Missouri Revised Statute, it also explains why we do liens and then we do court actions. Because see, again, all of us that are justices, which is all Moors, I'm no more of a justice than any Moorish American, Moroccan. We're all the same. And in order for the liens to go any further, the justice that recorded the lien and that initiated and generated and created the lien needs to do a court action. So let's look at that here. Let's look at that. Okay. Can you see the, now, there was a question in the chat from, the energy of the question it seems hybrid, but we'll answer it anyway. It says, why are you not occupying the building on First Avenue in Federal Way? Because we don't occupy our land. This is our home. This is our home. That's number one. And they put something else after that question that tells me that it is hybrid energy. But I won't read it because it's not important. But it says, but with regard to the building, we're going to do a sovereign commercial exchange in gold and put it on the public record, a real estate exchange, to go with the lien that went with that building. Now, the building's been marked. Clearly, they vacated the premises, those who were occupying. They vacated, and we posted a photo of that on social media. I went by there today, and it's still there. It's going to be there until, and we're going to do the real estate transaction, the exchange. Moorishe, from one moorishe company to another. And then we're going to use the building however we see fit. So let's just discuss how that can happen here. It's going to happen because we already have the lien. It's already done. The court action is done. We have foreclosed. But more, when you do your court actions on these buildings, we have to go ahead and state in our court action that we hereby command that the property be sold, that it be placed for sale, that it be placed for sale. Now, again, we're not buying our estate, we're accounting for it. But when you do the etymology, even on the word sale, S-A-L-E, it actually translates, that's actually a Latin word. It means salt. Ye are the salt of the earth. That is a commercial scripture. So we're going to do the commercial transaction or exchange on the public record, and then we're going to go over and do what we do after we notify everyone properly. We're in no rush. We got time to do it the right way. So let's look at this statute. It is a statute that we're going to elevate and put it in red in all lowercase letters, and we're going to quote it as one of our laws, our sovereign Moorish National Republic federal government law. So it will be a federal law and a federal judgment and justice as we continue with the possession of our vast estate. So this is section 7270 of the Missouri Revised Statute with regard to lien, 7270 and 7271, judgment by default. Judgment by default shall be rendered. That means that a judge is doing it, because it's not, it might say default, as in it just happens because the paperwork was there, but when it says shall be rendered, that is an action. That's a court action. Judgment by default shall be rendered or issued against every defendant who, after being summoned or notified according to law, shall not appear and plead or answer within the time allowed in ordinary civil action. This was done in the Revised Statute of 1909, subsection 8258. Let's stop there just for a moment. And then the stare decisis here is quoted as well. See Little Rock, ETC, corporation versus some other something here, 195 Missouri, 669, 93 SW 944. So that's some stare decisis. That's some, and res judicata. So what this is saying here is that you, first of all, remember when we're doing our court actions, that those who we were doing court actions, the corporate, when we call the corpses into court, we were getting a little static because they were saying that the corpses were not showing up. And I was just thinking, and I said this several times on several calls, let's just keep going. That makes our job easier when they don't show up. And how can something dead show up in a living court? But we must pronounce justice anyway. Okay, we have to do that. We must render justice because they're acting unlawfully on our land. Zombies. They're zombies. So this 7270 judgment by default is actually stating what we were doing. When they did not appear after being summoned or notified according to law. When they shall not appear and plead or answer within the time allowed in ordinary civil actions, judgment by default is rendered against them. Against them. So that's why we do court actions, whether they show up or not. And, it matters not whether they show up. It matters not. The judgment still stands because we are the law. All Moors are the law. And here at section 7271, judgment on constructive notice. When the defendant, and they're saying defendant here, but for us it's corpses. Corpses and the living. We are the living, they are the corpses that we've been calling into our court and raising them from the dead. And again, those who don't appear, judgment is rendered against them. That is another reason why going into the POW camp was so important, because they didn't have any choice but to appear in our court. We were standing right there. And they came straight to us. They came straight to us. And we just did a court action, and it stands as law. So section 7271, judgment on constructive notice. When the defendant has not been served with a summons according to law and has not appeared, but has been lawfully notified by publication, the judgment, if for the plaintiff, which in this case, we're not plaintiffs, we're the living. And that's what we do when we elevate this to our sovereign living federal jurisdiction, is we change the language so that it fits our sovereign status. We have to elevate the language. It says, if for the plaintiff, let me start from the beginning. When the defendant has not been served with a summons according to law and has not appeared, but has been lawfully notified by publication, the judgment, if for the plaintiff, shall be that he recover the amount of the indebtedness found to be due and cost of suit to be levied out of the property charged with the lien therefore, which said property shall be correctly described in said judgment. So then we just take what we need out of the property. And we can in our judgment, in our justice, we have the lien, we're doing the court action, and then we do our court action, and then we say, okay, as justice, we will be recovering the amount of the indebtedness found to be due and cost of suit is going to be levied out of the property charged with the lien therefore. So the property automatically is ours because our liens generally cover. I've not seen a single sovereign lien that did not cover any indebtedness due. Because see, and that's why we do our liens in gold and silver, because that's what the Constitution says, that the debts are to be paid in gold and silver. So we're aligning with what we gave them. That means that we are being honorable in all that we do. Because we told them to do some things, well, we have to be in alignment with that too. We're not under a constitution, we are aligned with one. We just align with it and make sure that if we tell them to do it, that we're making sure that we're doing it too. So you can order the sale of the place, and then in the same court action, present a treasury check and a completed sale that you have done with the empresses that do real estate, and show that you have issued a United States Treasury check to the Moorishe real estate company in your same court action, and say, okay, the indebtedness is the lien. We're going to take all indebtedness from the property, from the sale of the property, and you can sell the property for one gold Moorishe sovereign dollarium or one gold United States dollar. That way, you're double checking and making sure that there are fail safes in place, and there's no such thing as failure. The lien is enough to secure the property, but you want to show a sale on the public record if you choose to do that. I'm choosing to do it just because we need, for me, I know that I want to ensure that I'm able to show everything that I need to show. I want to show that a lien's been done. I want to show that a court action's been done. And I want to also show that the sale of that any indebtedness was taken from the property. And then in the interest, not interest because that's not the right word because there's no interest on gold and silver, but in order to show that a commercial exchange has taken place. That's what I want to say. That I want to show that a commercial exchange has taken place on the public record and connect that sale either to the lien, which it will be connected to the lien because you can't sell anything if it has a lien on it unless you have the lien, unless you hold the lien. You hold the lien, you take your interest out. And then, and again, it might seem unnecessary, but I'm going to show that a sale has taken place on that place. With the lien, and this is something I want to show you, and this is why I'm saying this, because some might say, that's just unnecessary, it doesn't make any sense. But let me show you why I say that. Because right here in this little fine writing, we're going to be elevating this statute up to a law. It says a statutory lien is not waived by a mere agreement to accept other things than money in payment for work done and material furnished. but it is discharged insofar only as payment was made in the terms agreed upon. So when you're talking about liens and getting and recovering the amount of indebtedness found to be due and the cost of suit out of the property, that still does not satisfy the lien, not really, simply because it's not in the payment that was agreed upon. And we told them the Constitution says everything was going to be paid in gold and silver, didn't it? So we told them, pay it in gold and silver. Any debt, that has to be paid in gold and silver, not in the property or indebtedness due to the property. We can take that just to further secure the liens, but that does not necessarily waive any agreement or any, and the agreement is the Constitution. Period. That's it. The agreement is the Constitution. And then our justice, our judgment, whatever our judgment is. And that's not really an agreement. That's just our command. Our command. So either way, we're still going to be doing just great in terms of, recovery and property and all of that. We just have to be patient and go through these lawful processes. It's right here. Just put it in red in your writs and affidavits, and notify, and then look through any other codes and statutes in any of the quote-unquote states, because they all of those quote-unquote states wrote codes and statutes that we can use that are in alignment with the treaty and the Constitution that work to our benefit when we uplift those codes and statutes to law. And then all laws made by the state to the contrary of the Constitution and its treaties is notwithstanding anyway. Period. So we get to cherry pick. And I talked about the term cherry pick not too long ago. That term came from us and the cherry tree, the one that George Washington supposedly chopped down. He didn't chop down any cherry tree. We've been here and gonna be here. But cherry picking is where we get to pick in these statutes that are out here which ones we want to elevate to the federal, the de jure sovereign federal level, and put it in our affidavits in red in all lowercase letters and fix the language. We bring the language into our jurisdiction, and then we just use it and enforce it. Here is one of the other statutes that we've already been doing this, but we're going to elevate this one also. We've already been doing it. Liens may be assigned, rights of assignee. Well, our ancestors put all of this in place for us, and we're their heirs. So whenever we say heirs, assigns, principals, and agents, we're that for our ancestors. So they did all of this, put everything in place. All we have to do is put it on the public record competently, and then everything that they put in place, we are connected directly to it. We didn't miss a beat. Not at all. We're directly connected to all of the laws and the treaty, everything that we're the heirs to. We're connected to it by way of our ancestors. So what this section 7285 says any person or persons, and again, when we elevate, we pull it up out of that person's term. We don't even use that term. We use any being, any sovereign having claims for which they are entitled to liens under this chapter, and we don't say under this chapter, we would change that too. We would say any sovereign having claims for which they are entitled to liens at law may assign to any other sovereign all their rights, title, and interest in, and to such claims, and the assignee thereof may file a lien or liens therefore, as provided in this chapter or in this law, and may bring suit in his own appellation, and include in such suit all claims assigned to him, and enforce such assigned lien or liens as fully as if such claims had been filed by the original claimant. And it won't be claimant, it'll be by the original sovereign. So we're just taking these and elevating them, and this one connects us directly to the original sovereign, which is our ancestors, and we're original too because we have their blood. So it's almost as if the time clock had not stopped. It's like the time clock hasn't stopped. From 1442 and from whenever our ancestors did what they did, it's almost as if colonization never happened. And that is where we're going. By the time we get done, and we will never finish because there's always going to be a higher level and degree that we can obtain, but with every action that we do, all we're doing is closing that time gap between what our ancestors did and what we're doing. That's why, you know, some hybrids are talking about their history being erased and all of this kind of stuff. We're just being about our mother and father's business, and it's making it so that things start to look on our land and be on our land the way that our ancestors meant for it to look and for it to be. By our actions. And by the time, you know, after a certain amount of time, you'll never know that we were ever, you know, that there was ever any foreign occupation at all that ever existed here. You know. So I'm excited about where we're going and what we're doing and what our ancestors are doing through all of us for that very reason, that I know that our land is going to be so beautiful. It's beautiful already, but by the time we get through exposing all of our temples and everything that was covered in the mud floods and everything that's on our land that is rightfully ours, and the Moors are doing all of the commerce and everything, it's going to be very, very beautiful for us. Very beautiful. And I'm looking forward to that. Now, I want to say on another note, I want to give thanks to and show some appreciation to a couple of the, well, one of the Moors who is an awesome, awesome teacher. He teaches some great information. And that is Brother Shem. Some of you know Brother Shem. Brother Shem teaches some great information. His YouTube channel, I believe, is Free Inhabitant. I believe it's Free Inhabitant. It's something that has to do with Free Inhabitant. Brother Shem is a great teacher. He has uncovered some beautiful information, and I actually had the opportunity over the last few days to look closely at what he is uncovering. And, you know, it's just beautiful information, especially when it almost feels like we have one major piece and other Moors have, and it's not just Brother Shem, but many Moors all have these major pieces that we can put together to make the whole, everything work beautifully. And as I was watching one of his videos, because I don't get an opportunity to watch them very often, but when I looked at his video, it was really, really good. And I'll go ahead and bring forth an article that he put in one of his recent videos. And I want to show you how that article relates to what we're doing. Oh, I just love that our ancestors have this unfolded. Yes. Are you here, Empress?
Jim Moore is trying to get in. I just wanted to mention that.
I'm sorry. It's okay. Let me unlock.
Islam.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. And also, Empress Shade, are you here? Is Empress Shade? Okay. I hope that she didn't get locked out. But I want to pull up an article that was in one of Brother Shem's recent videos and show you how that article relates to what we're doing. So let's see. There it is. And I believe this is the article right here. Yeah, this is the article. Okay. Just one moment. So I can put this article on the screen. I want to show you just how we are all very, very connected. And let's see. We're all very connected, and our teachings are connected as well. So some of the things that the other Moors are talking about, it's almost like we're all talking about the same things, just from a different, giving different viewpoints and different laws and different processes for the same information, which is great because there's 1,000,001 ways for us to be ourselves. There are 1,000,001 ways for us to be ourselves. The only way we cannot be ourselves is to try to be corporate. Okay. Other than that, we can be ourselves all day, every day. Let's see. Let me pull up. Let me see if I can pull up the this article. There it is. Okay. Can you all see the article on the screen? Hopefully you can.
It's on.
Okay, great. All right. Brother Shem did this video just recently, and someone sent it to my email, and I'm so appreciative of all Moors who send me information, because I get so much information. And even though I don't always get an opportunity to look over all of it, I look over a lot of it, and it's all, there's nothing that has been sent to me that we can't use.
Sage light repair,
okay?
Sage light replace,
everything that we've been sent has been something that we can use. So let me read through this article so that I can tell you exactly. So here's what it says. It says, Wachovia Corporation has apologized for its ties to slavery after disclosing that 2 of its historical predecessors owned slaves and accepted them as payment. Charlotte, North Carolina-based Wachovia issued a 111-page report to comply with a Chicago ordinance that requires companies that do business with the city to disclose whether they profited from slavery, which ended in the United States.
Come on, Pauline, tell them about that building on First Ave.
Okay. It says whether they profited from slavery, which they have to disclose whether they profited from slavery, which ended in the United States in 1865, which is not true. It did not end in the United States in 1865. On behalf of Wachovia Corporation, I apologize to all Americans, and especially to African Americans, African-Americans, and people of African descent. And notice the capital letters, the black ink, and the minus signs. Said Ken Thompson, Wachovia Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, in the statement released late Wednesday. We are deeply saddened by these findings. It says, historians at the History Factory, a research firm specializing in corporate archival work, found that the Georgia Railroad and Banking Company and the Bank of Charleston, institutions that ultimately became part of Wachovia through acquisitions, owned slaves, Wachovia said in the statement. And I'm going to stop there because we've been talking about, with the Moroccan-American exchange, we've been talking about the companies as they were before the corporation did what they did. Now, 1861, they adjourned sine die. 1871, they incorporated themselves. And this is saying that, you know, that they're apologizing for this company, Bank of Charleston. Well, these are corporates talking, and they're talking from a corporate perspective. It says it right there at the beginning, Wachovia Corporation. Well, that means that somewhere along the line, before 1871, someone was operating in a corporate capacity. Someone was operating in a corporate capacity. So we know that in 1776, the HEIRS came over as a corporation then. They were not a nation or a country or anything of that sort. They are a corporation, and they've been that from the very beginning. They came to do commerce. They didn't come to do law and politics. They came to do commerce. So let's take a look. It mentions the Bank of Charleston. This is our list. Let me put it on the screen. Our list of the sovereign companies that we the heirs, just one moment, let me see if I can get this on the screen. Okay, there it is. That we the heirs have taken. We've accepted it as our inheritance. Now, number one, we know we have no debt. The heirs have no debt. We've never had any debt. Everything that we've done has been gold-backed and sovereign. So whoever it is that they're talking about in here that accepted some slaves as payment, well, we only accept gold and silver. We only accept gold and silver. That's the only thing our ancestors accepted, was gold and silver. So now you know they're talking about some corpses did some things. Bank of Charleston here is not the same as the Bank of Charleston on our list. And the Bank of Charleston is number 61 on our list of companies that we inherited. Let's take a look at that. There it is. It's in red in all lowercase letters. So it is the sovereign gold-backed Bank of Charleston. And you're going to see a lot of these companies that were corporate. They were hypothecated as corporate and passed off as if it was the original company, but it was not the original. And that's the point of us being able to take these companies and as our inheritance. They were ours from the beginning, and they're still ours now that we are in our proper place and our proper status. But before, if we were in corporate status, do you think any of us would have been able to say we're the CEO of the Bank of Charleston and Wachovia and all of that? Again, the Moors who are stepping up to claim their inheritance here with these companies, you're inheriting a whole lot more than just what you see there on the paper. All of these companies, every last one of them, the resources that are uncovered when we lean the fake one in black with capital letters that's featured in those articles, we lean those. And they've been leaned, but we're going to keep leaning. Every time we see that we're going to make a move in some way towards a resource, we're going to slap some liens out there. On anything, thinking it's black with capital letters and operating in the capitalism system, we're going to put liens on it. Again, more liens, more liens. Because, see, they put a whole bunch of stacks of fraudulent stuff on top of our land and our inheritance to try and hide it and color it and do all of that. We can do a lien. You know, we have a lien template, simple. Put it in black, put those capital letters in there, and lien them. So that when the Bank of Charleston, the real one, which is this one here on the paper, that's the real Bank of Charleston. That's the gold-backed one that we are the heirs to. So all of those Moors who are stepping up saying, hey, I'm ready to all hands on deck to get working, to build our inheritance up to the greatness that our ancestors had it. All of the resources that Wachovia was claiming, the Bank of Charleston, the original indigenous one, has access to those resources. And then all the debt they take because they're capitalized. And Article 1 of the Constitution, Section 9, and let's see, Article 1, Section 9, and I believe it's the fourth clause. It is the fourth clause. States that no capitation or other direct tax shall be laid, etc., etc. No capitation or other direct duty shall be laid unless in proportion to the census or enumeration herein before directed to be taken. In other words, they were not supposed to be capitalizing anything anyway, and it's been staring them in the face the whole time. They knew that, but we didn't know. We were asleep. We didn't know that we were not supposed, that there was no capitation that was supposed to be going on with us. Nobility, were you wanting to say something?
Hello?
Were you wanting to say something about Islam? Yes, were you wanting to say something?
Yes, I do, Empress. I'm incarcerated. I'm being subject to involuntary servitude. Cecil Shah-El. I did a acceptance of removal, and I'm trying to figure out what should I approach next to effectuate my release.
Okay. Who did you do the removal with? Because we're now Empress Sharon and them are doing removals. We are actually suggesting to the heirs to do Article 3 court actions because, Nobility, I don't know if you're aware, but I was in a POW in February, and I did court actions, and that's how I got out of there. I did my own Article 3 court actions in the POW camp.
Okay.
Okay?
In
so
camp,
you need the language.
In the courtroom?
No, I did it right from my cell.
Okay.
Repeatedly. Okay. Right from my cell. Whenever they came to my cell, I did court actions. Do you have access in there to the internet at all or anything like that, or YouTube or anything? Because the language is there. Huh?
No, I do not, Empress.
Okay. Do you have something to write with?
Yes, I can have somebody take notes. Okay.
I'm going to give you right now. We are on one of our calls, but you know what? This is important, and I don't think that the Moors will mind if we assist here. Let me give you the court action language to do from your cell so that you can have access to an Article 3 court. You're the Article 3 court. They can't give it to you. There are Moors who have called and said that they've been requesting Article 3 courts, and we're the Article 3 courts. All Moors are the Article 3 courts. Yes. So if you have something to write with, let me give you the language to do your court action there.
Okay. We ready.
Okay. All rise and stand.
We are unable to complete your call at this time. Please try again later.
No podemos completar su llamada en este momento.
Nobility,
Por favor, intente de nuevo más tarde.
Because I'm hearing something saying
that's someone else's line.
424.
Is it Islam?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Good. Did you all hear that? Because it sounded like the line was about to cut. I'm hoping that you're still here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
the
I
language.
think that was somebody else's line.
Okay. All right.
All right, stand.
This is a sovereign, living, ancient Al-Moroccan, Article 3, Moorish American Consular Court Action.
Okay.
I am sovereign living justice Cecil Shaw L. Is that's correct, right?
Yes, ma'am.
In capitis dimiutio nolo.
You have 1 minute left.
It says that you have 1 minute left. Can the Empress call me? Whoever, I heard in Empress's voice, can she call me back? Okay, let me give you my number real quick.
Yes,
and then you can call me back and I'll give you the language to give to him.
Thank you.
And then some other information that you can use. My number is 334-294-9828. 334-294-9828.
I have it perfect.
Okay. I'm on a call right now, but yes, you're welcome, nobility. We got you, of course. We got you. Let me finish this call, Empress. Is it okay? Can you call me back in about? Okay. Call me back no matter how late it is tonight. Call me back.
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
Islam. Okay. Wow. Duty calls. So, where were we? Islam in the chat, Islam. So, these companies that we have all stepped up to inherit and to put our hands to the plow and get working and growing, because these companies are the vast estate as well. And all of the resources, and that's where we were. Thank you, ancestors, for that. All of the resources that Wachovia was claiming are now the resources of the heirs. Okay? And that's why they're apologizing, because they don't have any other resources anymore, because we leaned everything. Many more leaned Wachovia Corporation, or else you would not be hearing them say what they said. However, they backdated this and said that this happened in 2004. Okay, we'll go with that. We ain't hear nothing about no apology in no 2004. I know that. I don't know about y'all, but I didn't hear nothing about it. So let's just say that they did it back in 2004. To this day, those resources that Wachovia was claiming belongs to the heirs. We've removed the corporate covering off, and we don't even know, and this is the research this is going to be the great research that we have to do. We get to look at these companies, look in the records, because with those apologies comes records, access to records, and everything that has to do with us, okay? So things that we didn't see on the internet before, we'll actually be able to Google corporate records and look in those records and see things that were previously covered and hidden. We'll be able to see them, such as minutes to their corporate meetings where they talked about all of this stuff. Incorporation documents that shows where they hypothecated that which belongs to us. So each one of these companies on here is a foundational company that they never touched the foundational company, just like they could never change our status. Our status has always been sovereign. Even when we were asleep and thought that we were corporate, we were still sovereign. These companies, same thing. They were still living sovereign companies. But the hybrids put some capital letters and took it before the altar, because, see, whenever you hear the term altar, when they're in that circle church, saying that they're doing something on the altar, that just means they're changing something They're altering something. Yes, they copied everything in color. Yes, in the chat, Justice Shezerel, they sure did. Everything that was in red, they put it in black. And I mean everything that we had. They put it in black and put capital letters on it. And we're just undoing that. And really, we're just uncovering what was already there, foundationally. That's why you're seeing the changes over there that you're seeing. And it's being published widely today because they knew this time was coming. Even if this did happen in 2004, they knew that sometime soon, because they can look in the cosmos and tell, sometime soon the Moors are going to be waking up. So we better get all this stuff done right now. We better start apologizing. The Pope start kissing feet of the heirs and all of that. And many of you have seen the video of him kissing the feet of the heirs over there, in preparation for the wake up of what we're doing now. So here's the situation where we are right now, which is a beautiful place to be. We're in the process now. Those heirs who are stepping up to actually do the work of building the vast estate where these companies are concerned, we're going to be interlocked and interlaced and networked together so that if one company needs something that our company has, we can get it to them. If their company has something that we're going to need, then we can get it as well. And we're going to be using sovereign gold-backed money, real money. I want to show you in some of the, now we have proof that every company on this list that we've inherited was in some way hypothecated. We have that proof. Let me show you one other piece of proof that I was going to show the other day. Let's see, here it is. Okay. Let me put this on the screen so that you can see it. Okay. Can you see the 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapters 61 and 62 from 1871? Can you see that on the screen? Okay. Look carefully. Now, we just mentioned 1871 and what happened there. So, this is where the hypothecation was happening. They were capitalizing things, and they even say right here, for payment of the 7th annual installment of the proportion contributed by the United States towards capitalization of the Scheldt dues, $55,584. So they spent their time capitalizing everything. Well, let's see if they mention any of the companies on our list, because they're admitting that they're capitalizing. Right here, it says, to pay to the government of Great Britain and Ireland the second and last installment of the, and look how they spelled installment, because see, they were incompetent at the time too. Installment, and it's, anyway, that's a whole other something that we can talk about. The last installment of the amount awarded by the commissioners under the Treaty of July 1, 1863, in satisfaction of the claims of the Hudson's Bay. Is that one of our companies? Yes, it is. And of the Puget Sound Agricultural Company, $325,000 in gold coin. Provided that, and see, provided is put here because whenever they put anything in italics, that means it was not in the original document. That means they added it. It's a hypothecation. That before payment shall be made of that portion of the above sum awarded to the Puget Sound Agricultural Company, all taxes legally, not lawfully, legally assessed upon any of the property of said company covered by said award before the same was made and still unpaid shall be not paid, but extinguished by said Puget Sound Agricultural Company. Well, we know we didn't have any debt. There was nothing that was due that we, the original indigenous sovereigns, we never had any debt that was due that needed to be extinguished. So what are they talking about really? Here in this, where they're openly admitting that they're capitalizing, they're saying we're rewriting this and we're using capital letters and assessing a tax to it. When they do this, and each and every one of these companies on this list, I can tell you for sure, is somewhere in their congressional record. The copy that we found of the original, and it wasn't an original, but it was their narrative concerning Lewis Cass Pacer came from the United States Archives. So they're just telling us in their record that they capitalized all of our companies, our original indigenous sovereign companies. Now, this last paragraph right here might even be, and again, it mentions a lien. Clearly there was a lien, because they're saying all taxes legally assessed upon any of the property of said company covered by said award before the same was made and still unpaid. So that's a lien. Taxes are a lien. Mortgages are a lien. Capitalization indicates a lien. So even in our liens, didn't we do some capitalization? Yes, we did. We put them in black like they claim to be. They're claiming to be in black and capital letters. So that's how we did our liens. We put them in black and capital letters, and we're in red and all lowercase letters. And that's how liens should be done. If that's what they're claiming to be, then they're a lien. Period. Okay? So in your research areas of the companies that you've inherited, you can look through congressional records, quote unquote congressional records, because that's congressional with a capital C, minimum capital C, and find your company somewhere, and there'll be some amounts listed there that's due to the company and all of that. Puget Sound Agricultural Company, they're saying that there's some gold due. There's $325,000 in gold coin that's due. The Hudson Bay Company, let's look on our list and see where those companies are. Let me pull our list of the company. And again, heirs, this is due to all the heirs. This is due to all of us, because these companies, we're all inheriting all of them, even though you may step up and claim a company like I'm putting a claim on Puget Sound Agricultural Company because Puget Sound is here. Hudson Bay is in New York territory, so some more that are in that territory who want to do the work there can claim that one. They're here, right here in the record, saying that they capitalized those companies. And there's a currency exchange going on here in this statement, in this congressional record. Do you see the currency exchange going on there? One moment they mention gold coin, and then next they mention some taxes that are assessed. That's a currency exchange. So that might be a hint. We only dealt in gold coin. So the part that has to do with gold coin being due to us, That is, that you know that the original company that they hypothecated was us. You know that that was us in 1871. This was when they were, again, incorporating everything and hypothecating. Because you really can't incorporate that which is in red in all lowercase letters. It can't be incorporated. You actually create a separate creature. It is a creature, a corpse creature, a dead creature. That's not created by us. So, yes, the Puget Sound Agricultural Company is due $350,000. HEIRS Puget Sound Agricultural Company is number 1 on our list. Number 2 on the list is Hudson Bay Company. And I changed the Bay to B-E-Y. It's the same company because it's in red in all lowercase letters. So the New York, those in New York territory, where are you? Step up and claim your inheritance. It's there, right in the records. And then get to work. We got to get to work. That's what this is all about, is we have work to do, a lot of work to do. But we have the resources that we need to do the work, because the resources are right here on the land. They're right here. And all we have to do is competent documents in order to use those resources. And we put the competent documents out there. In order to pull from the Treasury, you must have a court action. We talked about that initially in the beginning here and showed it to you in the Constitution. Any appropriation must be done lawfully, because all justices are bankers. That's why we're doing what we're doing with regard to the Moroccan American Exchange. And I will say this about the Moroccan American Exchange. At some point, we've already begun the process, just so that you all are aware. It will merge into the in capitis dimiutio nolo New York Stock Exchange. But it's going to be the one in red in all lowercase letters and not the black one in capital. It's not that one. Because that one is going to take all their debt with them. In fact, they're already collecting it up. When you heard that, and we all, most of us who were, knowing what we're hearing, because sometimes we can hear things and not really understand it yet, and then the ancestors make it clear later. That happens to all of us. When you heard about Jerome Powell, the one doing businesses that was previously doing business as chairman of the Federal Reserve, when you heard about the Federal Reserve, quote unquote, buying up all the corporate debt, that was them getting ready to take all that stuff with them on their way out of here. Because again, we have no debt on our land. None. None whatsoever. And then what we're doing, and we talked about this too with regard to the companies that we're stepping up, is we're stepping up and financing our own companies using gold coin, gold-backed sovereign dollarium, and gold-backed United States dollars in red and all lowercase letters. So everything is connected. Everything is connected. The hybrids knew we were going to do what we're doing right now. They knew we were going to wake up and do it. They knew that. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Is Moors? I will say that I'm just so grateful that so many Moors have stepped up to claim companies and claim their inheritance. I'm so it's amazing. It's amazing. We are unified. We are on one page, on the same page. We are. And that won't change. We're going to be more and more on the same page as we go, as we rise, as we continue the grand rising. So those are some things that I wanted to show you about the companies. There are other companies again, all of these companies are mentioned in documents that were hypothecated by the Service Corporation. If it says that it's a bank in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, you can believe that you can find some records there. Now, one of the main resources that we're going to be using to look up records that were previously not really seeming like they weren't available to us is those historical societies in our territories. There are historical societies in all of our territories have them. Every last territory has a historical society. I don't care what they say the historical society is for. They might say that it's for the tobacco industry. You'll want to go look because they're going to have something in their records that talks about the land, where they got it from, who they got it from, how they got it, and all of that. So you'll want to avail yourselves of those records. Look at those records so that you can, and take your camera phone so you can snap some photos and record some video of those records so that you know, but the records will be available. Freedom of information, we have the Moors, because what we're doing right now is a court action, we hereby place a freedom for all information law on the public record yet again, because we've said it before, we're saying it again, and the records are making themselves available. We're seeing on, you know, again, when we start searching on the internet for things, we're seeing things that we did not see before popping up, and I'm excited about that because we need those records. Are there any other questions, comments, etc.? Any other questions, comments, or wisdom that you have, erudition that you want to make us aware of so that we don't miss anything?
Islam.
Islam Empress.
Cynthia Ann Bay here, Califia Territory. I don't know if it's wisdom or not, but I just want to share something that was strange that happened yesterday. You know, I'm just looking through the internet, and a news article comes up, and it's about Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Nation Star mortgage company, which switched to Mr. Cooper. These are the three bankers that I wrestled with for almost 2 years before they pushed me off my property. And the article was that 480,000 people had their accounts wiped out for mortgages that charged them like 7, 8, 9 times. And so now 480,000 people are trying to get their money back. And the demonstration you did Wednesday morning about, you know, the woman who was, you know, conversing with the bank about her account and her grandson, because of what you did, the letters that were shown to the public yesterday, what the bankers were telling the people, I saw those letters in a totally new light. I knew exactly what they were saying, you know, due to the demonstration that you shared with us yesterday. And I just wanted to thank you for all the hard work that, you know, that you're doing. It's amazing, and yeah, thank you, Islam.
Yeah. Islam, Empress, you know what?
Thank you.
You know, those banks, they're doing what we told them to do. When we leaned them and did court actions, Empress, yes, they have to do what we tell them. I'm telling y'all, they have to do what we tell them. Because
yes,
we're the law, we're the government.
I knew it,
Empress. Say again, Empress.
Yes. That was so encouraging.
Yes, yes.
So encouraging.
Listen,
I knew it was our work.
Yes, yes, yes. See, they have no way, we created them. They have to do what we say. There are subjects and they know it. And that's why I don't badmouth them and things like that. I don't bad. Every now and then I'll call them what we created them to be. But that's just because it's the truth. But we don't badmouth them or anything like that because they're doing what we tell them. We just have to know it when we see it. See, Empress Cynthia, you can see that they're doing what we tell them to do. Some Moors can't see that. They don't. To them, it doesn't look like they're doing what we tell them to do because they're saying there's still Moors being taken and there's still Moors. Everyone's going to be tested. But that does not mean that the ancestors have left us or just are leaving us high and dry. They're still working to manifest this vast estate, period. And they're working through us. We're the ancestors returned. They have to do what we tell them. Now they're signing in blue. So, all we have to do is keep doing what we're doing and continue growing, letting our main focus be growing the empire. And growing the empire encompasses everything that we've done previously. Nationality, assisting Moors with nationality, assisting them with documents, assisting them with when they've been taken, when they've been detained, assisting them to free themselves. That's growing the empire because with every heir who speaks, the empire has grown exponentially. So we just have to keep doing what we're doing. That's all. Just keep working together, staying together, keep speaking publicly on the public record with our documents. Unstoppable, completely unstoppable, completely unstoppable. No one can stop us. No thing can stop us either. So, thank you for that, Empress. Are there any other observations that you've seen in the territories and in the news, etc.? Justice Winston. Okay, there's Justice Winston. Let me respond to your question in the chat. And also, there's a couple of lines that are coming up on the sound meter, and I can't see them right now, but I'm going to take a look. Empress Cynthia and Justice Frank, you're coming up on the sound meter. If you'll star 6, thank you. Because there's just a little bit of like a background, something going on there. I want to make sure that the question that's in the chat, is there a code to access the no postage necessary? No, there is not. If you see that it's giving you a message like that, you may want to try logging out and logging back in because there's no, it doesn't have any code. Whenever we put a link to some documents out there, we normally make sure that everyone can access it. I'm going to go in there right now, Justice, and make sure that it's that it's accessible to you. Okay? And I'll put the link to it in the chat so that we're sure that you get it. Okay? Because those are things that we can fix right now while we're here. If there is an issue, let's see. Let me go to the drive really quickly. And make sure that we can access that document. Let's see. Just 1 second. We're coming up on them right. Should be coming up right now. Let me see. Okay, I see them here. Let me just get the link and ensure that you can access those. Yeah, it says anyone with the link, so let me go ahead and put that link in the chat. Okay, there you go. The link is in the chat, Nobility, so you should be able to access those as necessary. And anyone else who needs them, yes. Here's Nobility. Are there any other questions or comments or anything of that nature, any wisdom? Because we get, I learn more by doing these calls than I share.
I got something.
Okay, Justice Frank is, yeah, just give it about a minute, 60, right. About 60 seconds. Okay.
All right. Just pick it back off, going back to the Bay in Hudson, the Bay in 1861. Lincoln was it's called the coup d'état, and they had 10 years of practice. You know, because he was the last sitting president, the 16th president. He was the official. He honored the republic, and so there has been no other president since then. So 1871, the Act of Congress, what I was referring to, they had all that 10 years of practice. And so what you're looking at with the Hudson Bay and the capital dominatio nolo, maximum, minimum, medium, and that's what you're looking at. And so they are fraud. That's what Charlie trying to point out, which I love history. I'm a very good historian, you know, when it comes to history. So I wanted to just pick it back and to show you, you know, what happened there. You know, so we on that's what I mean by they knew what they're doing, you know. Yeah. But we thanks to you, we busting them. Thanks by you, we tearing them up. Thanks to the ancestors. So long.
Islam, you know what? We're all in this. We're one. We're doing it together. And the capitalization piece, because so many Moors are doing it. See, we had the way our ancestors put everything together. They made it so that the only way we would be as effective as we're being right now is if we do it together. No, they made sure that no one of us could claim the whole estate just for ourselves and our little clan, you know. No, it has to be all of us, and we got to be on the same page. And to me, that's the beauty of it, is because, I mean, there's so many more we have to talk to about all that's going on our vast estate. And then there's enough of us right now that are coming in with this whole commerce piece, because we're actually writing our herstory, which some call history. We're writing it where commerce is concerned. This time is going to be spoken of the same way that when we look back and we talk about 1913 and 1933 and 1871, this time in Moorish history is going to be talked about, because we're working together and we're not taking no for an answer with regard to our vast estate. And we're implementing the gold economy. It's always been here. We just needed to activate it and use it and put our full faith and credit in ourselves and not in corpses. That's where capitalization ends, is when we wake up and say, nope, we're not doing that. We're using our own resources. We're the source of the resources. We're cutting out the middle corpse that was pretending to be over our vast estate, it's a wrap. Thank you, Justice Frank. Appreciate it much, much, much. Islam. Are there any other comments, questions? And you know, Justice Frank, he overstands when I say it, keep it to about 60 seconds, because he'll go about 30 minutes on this call. Islam, thumbs up to you too, Justice Frank. Are there any other questions, comments, etc.? Okay. With that being said, peace and grand rising to the sovereign original indigenous heirs, and we'll see you all next on Sunday. Islam, peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Right, wrong.
Grand rising.
Long live the emperor.
Grand rising.
Islam, grand rising.
Grand rising. Islam.